Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Help with Natalie Cuomo. I'm here with tattooer Jon Mesa. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
I just watched the entire season 15 of Ink Master, and now here you are in the flesh.
How is that? First, I want to know what you thought of it, of course, but it's one of those things that like when I saw the whole season, I'm like, wow, that went so fast, because to me, it felt so long.
I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, those look like really long days that you're spending on set and tattooing.
Yes, the days are, and like that 48-minute episode, those are like 3 days usually of like solid 12-hour days.
Really?
Yeah.
I can see that. I mean, I don't know. I think it was a great show to watch. It was
Good.
Really fun. You crushed it. All your tattoos were amazing.
Thank you so much.
Hope to get tattooed by you one day.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a really fun show, like just to see people's work and in different scenarios. I mean, what was it like being a participant on the show?
The biggest adjustment is just getting used to the fact that you're not going to have the same rhythm that you have at home. Like, when you're at home and you're tattooing, everything just happens on you're on your time, on your flow of things. And like, you'll have a very exact time of like, you show up, then you're going to wait for a while. Then you're going to like meet your client. Then you're going to wait again. Then you're going to have like very specific drawing time.
Right.
And then you're going to wait some more. And then your tattoo time starts. But, I'm like one of those people. I get to the shop around 12:30, and then I don't start tattooing until like 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
And Ink Master time, you're showing up to set like around 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna start tattooing until 12:30, 1 o'clock. So you're already kind of had a day.
Right. Like, what are you doing in that time?
You're filming reality.
Right.
The little bits where you're just like talking about what do you guys think is gonna happen today? What do you think will happen yesterday?
Yeah.
You're just waiting for them to get ready, So it's just a lot of like, hurry up, wait, and then doing all that.
I will say, like, my one thing with the show is I felt like from episode 1, like, you three that were in the finale were the best from episode 1. Like, my fiance and I were watching the whole season, and I was just kind of like, I do feel like you guys were the standouts from the first episode through the whole season, and it's kind of like, all right, we kind of knew that you were gonna make it to the finale.
Like, those guys are gonna make it.
Yeah, and like in a reality show, you kind of want to have a little bit of mystery and be like, who's it gonna be? And it was just kind of obvious.
Well, I feel like this is what happened, right? They started off the competition with do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And they usually end the show with do whatever you want.
Right.
So you get to see a little bit of like
struggle at
the beginning, and then you get to see who's confident with their own thing that they do. And then what happens throughout the show is that even though it can start like really strong, anybody can mess up one day because it's not just what's in your control. It could be like you just get a person that taps out on you and says, I don't want to do this. Or like I had a few times on the show, not that many, but I had a couple of times actually where I had to redraw something like 3 times, and that ate up into my tattoo time.
Yeah.
But then you don't really get to see all of that because they're trying to pack everything that's happening. And if somebody's getting eliminated on that episode, they try to tell a little bit of their story and their struggle of why. You don't get to see why somebody else struggled in that same episode, even if they overcame it.
Yeah.
So like it's always like interesting to see everything because I was like, oh man, I redrew that thing 3 times and I was like sweating bullets that day. But they didn't show that. And I'm like, no, it looked overly confident, like I could nail everything when I was really struggling,
Well, I don't know. I mean, I thought that like you were a standout from the first episode until the very end. So I think you crushed the whole entire season. I think it was great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you feel that it really changed your career to be on the show?
No,
No,
I don't think it changed my career. Like, I went on Ink Master with the intention of just, I did a reality show actually like 10 years ago.
You did? What was it?
Yes, it was called Best Ink.
Okay.
And it was the same format, and it was the season 1 of 2 reality shows that came out around the same time. One of them was Best Ink, the other one was Ink Master. And I actually got offered to be in both.
Okay.
And then I just chose the other one.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I'll pick this one. You know? I already kind of knew a little bit of like what was, and that one really did kind of help me get my career going at that time. I'd only been tattooing for maybe 6 years at the most,
Okay.
And I was very, very early on, and like that helped me get people to know and see my work and stuff like that. But at this point, like, I have a solid clientele. I've been tattooing for 17 years. Like,
Yeah.
you know, whether I went on Ink Master or not, like, I'm going to be tattooing. Like, I've built my business and things like that. So I'm fine. But now I really wanted to promote my podcast.
Yeah.
I wanted to, you know, I'm also a model and I do like fashion stuff, and I wanted to promote that too. So I wanted to really promote other things other than just tattooing as far as myself. And I saw it as like a good avenue to like, hey, look at me, you know?
Yeah.
Look at all the things I do. So.
That's awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about your podcast.
So my podcast is called Honest Tattooer.
Okay.
And it was like a thing that me and my friend Matt, who does it with me, you know, we always would sit, you know, after we finished tattooing, and we talk about things. And like, we have a lot of guest artists, and sometimes we have conversations with them, and sometimes you have great conversations with friends, you know, but they're just like lost,
and no one hears them,
and I was like, oh man, what if we like started a podcast and like we called it Honest Tattooer, and it's all about, you get to say whatever you want,
right?
You know, you have to be honest about everything. Just keep it raw and just say whatever. And maybe we can like inspire other people and things like that. Because I think at this point, that's one of the most valuable things I think in my career. Like, you know, I wish I had more guidance in the beginning of my career, and it's nice to be able to give a little bit of guidance to other people, because not everybody gets a good apprenticeship, not everybody gets a good mentor. So like, just to be able to like just put it out there, maybe somebody gets inspired by it or gets a little bit of my information and benefits from it.
What's something that like you feel like you wish you knew in the beginning of your career that you know now and you want to share with other people?
Man, the biggest thing is how to manage your money early in your career. Yeah. You know, like that was probably the biggest thing. Like, you know, like in the beginning of my tattoo career, everybody who I worked with, they were living what we call the pirate life, you know? They're like cash only, you know, like put your money in your mattress, you know, like it was like that mentality.
It's true.
You
It
know?
was cash only always.
Like cash only in every tattoo shop, you know? But, you know, since then we've had, you know, digital currency. We have like all of these things, and like, so that's changed so much that it's much harder to live in a world where you're just constantly just getting paid cash, and a lot of people never even carry cash, you know? Right. So like that was like a huge thing. And then like seeing people that were really good tattooers, they made a lot of money, and then would struggle with just, I want to buy a house. Oh, well, show where does your money come from, you know? And then they have no paper trail of what they've been doing and things like that. So like that's my biggest advice to any young tattooer that I'm like, you know, either working with. I'm like, hey, start thinking about your future. Start, you know, putting some money, because tattooers don't get retirement. Tattooers don't get healthcare. There's so many things that are different about tattooing than in a lot of industries. I feel like maybe either people that are stylists, you know, like barbers, do go through these things, you know, maybe even like people that are bartenders, you know, like you just work in a different way, and you need to learn to plan for your own future, because nobody's going to take care of you later. Yeah. It's a very like do-it-yourself kind of industry in a way. Yes. And too many times, you know, you're just like, especially me, and I was, you know, early 20s tattooing. It was like, oh, I made this much money, and then I'm going to make some more money tomorrow, you know? Yeah, like, let me just fucking spend it. Yeah, and it's like, it's money in your hand, and I go out with my friends, party, and never consider a lot of things, you know? I think entertainers are like that as well. I mean, like, because, I mean, especially with comedians, like, you get, like, a big paycheck, but you get the big paycheck, like, every few months. Yeah. You know, other than touring, like, maybe you get, like, your cast and something, so you get excited when you get the big paycheck and you want to spend it, and then you have to remember like, oh, I'm not getting another one of these for a while. I need to be smart with this. Yeah. Even just taxes. Yes. You're like, oh, this is not all of my money. The taxes, I'm really scared for this year. Yeah, because nothing's withheld. Nothing's withheld. They're like, here, you know, we're going to report that we gave you this much, and then it's your responsibility. Yeah. And that's part of it too, you know. So it's like, scary. All that stuff is crazy. And as you grow older and you start learning how to budget yourself, you're like, okay, you can be okay. Yeah. Were you always into drawing? I started drawing when I was a little kid. Yeah. And like, it's funny, like my son's the same way. Mm-hmm. He draws a lot. Yeah. He likes to spend a lot of time just drawing, and I was the same way. Just spent time drawing. Then I started drawing cartoons, and my mom noticed, and she was like, "I'm gonna put him in an art class." And then I went to an art class when I was like 7, and ever since then, it's something that I would just do for fun, you know. But it wasn't until I was like maybe a teenager that I started drawing more, and then got involved with bad kids, then stopped drawing again, and then later in life I started drawing all over again. But every time that you stop drawing is like a muscle. You have to exercise all the time. If not, you can kind of like, you get slower, you don't get as like efficient. So like now that I've been doing it consistently for a long time, I'm much better at it.
Do you ever hear people say, like, I feel like I've heard this sentence, like, I want to draw, but I'm just not good at it?
I hear this all the time, especially when clients, when they see me drawing, like, wow, I could never draw. I'm like, yeah, you probably could.
Yeah.
You know?
What do you mean by that?
Because I think that it's something, it's a learned skill. You know? Yeah. Like, you might not be like brilliant at it, but you could definitely continually improve. And I think it's like it's practice, and it's about teaching you how to see things, how to break things down. And that's the part where it's like, it takes work. It's like when you see somebody draw a portrait and you see them with a few lines really make it very efficient, and you're like, wow, I already see it, you know? That's because they've been doing it for a really long time, and they can capture shapes, and they have also like muscle memory and things like that. But in the beginning, you know, it's about building the shapes very slowly, and it takes a lot of time. But the better you get at it, then you're like, you can cut corners and get to like the end result a lot faster.
My mom always says like drawing is seeing.
Yes.
Like, oh, I like
yes, that's absolutely true. Drawing is seeing. And like, I think that's why I think artists, you know, visual artists, you know, see the world in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's simple. It's like, I have a friend, he cracks me up, and I'm like, somebody will be like, oh, what color is that? I was like, oh, it's a light green. And he'd be like, it's actually chartreuse. You know, like we know all of these different little variations of something we can appreciate. Like, that's not orange, actually that's tangerine. You know,
it's like the slight differences and that attention to detail.
Yes.
What made you want to apply the drawing to tattooing?
So I never really wanted to be a tattoo artist, which is crazy. Yeah, I wanted to be a fashion designer.
Okay, I see that. You're very fashionable.
Thank you. I've always loved fashion, and that's what I wanted to do. And then I was going to school for graphic design, and I started getting tattooed because I was like, I'm not ever gonna have like an office corporate job.
Yeah.
So I just started getting tattooed freely, and I was like, I want to get a sleeve. And then I became really good friends with that guy. And he was like, why don't you tattoo, man? And I was like, I don't know, man. And he was like, well, just come by, hang out at the shop, and see how you like it. And we were good friends at the time. So like I would just come and hang out and started kind of getting into the vibe of tattooing. But it happened once I went to my first tattoo convention. It was here in New York City. It was this convention that would happen at the Roseland Ballroom.
Okay.
And that convention changed my mind of what I wanted to do.
Why?
Because there were just tattooers there from all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, and some of the best tattooers in the world. So then seeing like the most high caliber level of art and seeing people that traveled from many places and knowing they're like, oh, they do this all the time. They travel all over the world doing this. And traveling was one of my goals, you know, in life. And I was like, I think I might want a tattoo.
Yeah.
And then that's when I switched, and I was like, I want to do this. And it's crazy because like I was good friends with some of my professors, and some of them saw the change. They're like, dude, you don't seem like as interested anymore of being here. And I was like, I think I want to be a tattoo artist. And they're like, then you should quit.
Yeah.
Quit school, drop out of school, and just go pursue that, you know? And I did.
That's amazing.
No regrets.
Hell yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. That's really cool. What do you think? Okay, so as a tattooer, what are like the most annoying things that a client can do when they come in, like inside tattoo mind, like pet peeves that you have?
Man, like lately my biggest pet peeve, it's if like someone picks up a phone call and talks very loud
while you're tattooing them.
That's rude. Especially if they get really like I've had people get into like kind of arguments.
They're like moving, and you're like,
yeah, and they're like moving, and I just stop. I just stop, and I'm just looking at them like, hey, are you gonna finish this? And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I gotta go.
That's so rude.
It's rude, but it happens, you know. It happens.
Do people FaceTime and shit too?
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yo, what are you doing? I'm getting tatted. Yo, look at John right here. I'm getting tatted right now. Yeah, that happens too. And then you're like, hey, what's up?
I feel like tattooing for me, listen, I am very addicted to my phone. I'm glued to it 24/7, but I do feel like when I'm getting tattooed, that is like a sacred time where I'm like, for some reason, I'm like, this is on my body forever. Like, let me experience the process of it going on to me.
Be present. Be in the moment.
Yeah, for this. Like, unless the only time I'll really like, I don't know, because if it's really painful, I also am not going to look at my phone because like, I feel like I can. I feel like I have to like get in a zone.
Well, it's kind of like there's a dual thing with that, right? Because also your phone can help you get distracted if you're going through like a tough moment in the tattoo where you're just like, oh man, this is like, you know, I've had clients that are like, it helps when I look at it. And there are like clients who are like, it helps when I just zone out, you know? So it could go either way depending on the person. But what do you think about now? It's like a big trend of people getting fully put under.
No,
that's a thing.
That's fucking insane.
People have been paying to get fully put completely under for like 6 hours, 8 hours, so they can get gigantic tattoos done by like a team of artists. Like they'll get like one artist on one arm, one artist on the other arm, another artist on the leg, another artist on the rib.
It's not, first of all, it's not surgery. Second of all, it's like taking away everything that it's like. Part of my pride in my tattoos is like, this hurt.
Yeah.
I'm stronger than you, motherfucker. Like, I went through pain.
I agree with that.
I feel like, I feel like that's crazy. Like, I understand sometimes people will take, like, pain meds. Occasionally, people will use numbing cream or something. But, like, those things fade. Those things only last a few hours. And those shouldn't be used all of the time. I think going completely under, not being conscious, not being part of the process. Like, I think like getting a tattoo is like a ceremony. Like, it's like a process, and you should be part of it. If you're not part of it, it's weird to say, it feels creepy.
Yes.
It's like you're becoming a cadaver in a way.
Yes. And I feel like it's a transformative experience.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like mentally and physically, you know, like you're going to just look different. And like, I think it's wild because I saw this video the other day, and this guy he had like 5 people tattooing him. And he was getting, from what it looked like, he had everything from both arms, chest, and legs.
Why?
I don't know why. But I'm like, wouldn't that just be like a shock of just waking up and just looking so different?
Yeah.
Like, you know, just from, I'm like, that's wild.
It bothers me. Have you ever gotten anything lasered removed?
Completely, yes.
Really?
Yes. So I got all of my first tattoos I got my first one when I was 18.
Yeah.
Got tattooed again when I was like 22. And then once I decided to be a tattooer, I started getting super tattooed.
Of course,
but all of those tattoos, they're all gone. So I got my right arm completely lasered, my neck completely lasered, yeah. And then I got full sleeve after that, and I got my neck re-tattooed after that.
Huh.
And it's like a matter of like those tattoos that I got because I just wanted to be tattooed.
Yeah.
And I got what I could afford, you know? And I also didn't know as much, you know? And now they're no longer like a reflection of my taste, of me, you know? So like, I just want, you want what you wear to be a reflection of your personality and who you are.
I feel that. I definitely relate to like just wanting to fill up. Like I felt like being tattooed, like I'm obviously not a tattoo artist, but I felt like being tattooed was a big part of my identity, and I just wanted to get as many as possible. And I love my tattoos. I think that now if I were to get tattoos on my arms, I would pick something different, but I don't think I would get something different because it like I appreciate the time in my life. I was like so high last night and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I was like, why did I take a sativa edible? And I'm like lying in bed, and I just like felt like really a lot of love for like this time in my life where I got these tattoos. And I was like, I don't know whether it's just like my altered perception of it in my head. I just feel like it just marked a time in my life, even though I do think I would maybe I see so many artists that I'm like, damn, that's really nice.
Yeah.
But something about like the concept of laser removal like freaks me out.
It's wild how it works. And like I have tattoos from the same time that I've kept, you know? But like the first things I got tattooed were both my arms.
Yeah.
And like it's such a visible thing. And like I always tell people, like, you know, what do you want on your inner forearm? Because that's the one that you're going to look at the most. Then give it a really good thought. Like when you look down, it's so easy to look at what's right here.
Yeah, my inner forearm's fucked.
Well, it's higher up. I feel like this part right
like
here.
This?
Yes.
Yours is cool.
You know, like this is the sleeve.
I see why you redid it. That's fucking sick.
So like I immediately was like, oh man, I love Japanese tattooing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want
really
a cool, sick, you know, and it's a full sleeve, all you know, nice and cohesive.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want a really nice, cohesive Japanese sleeve.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I was like, oh man, I jumped the gun too early on to just get a bunch of little patchy tattoos just to fill up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to get rid of those. But on my left arm, I also have a bunch of patchy tattoos.
Yeah.
But those are from like my early years of being a tattoo artist as well, you know?
Right.
But the other ones were like my early years of just getting tattooed.
Right.
Which are two kind of different stages of my life. So I'm like, I'm okay with these guys.
Yeah.
You know, and some of them are okay. Some of them are not great, you know, but I'm fine with that because they do mark a part of my life. They're like a little timestamp, you know?
Yeah.
But the other ones, I'm like, I'll let go of these because I just really want what I want. And
I agree. It is your body. Have you ever gotten a tattoo that you really didn't like and then gone home and been like, that night and been like, fuck?
Let me think. I mean, like, not the same day. More of like a matter of like a couple of years later. I'm like, oh man, fine. You know, like, oh, I should have just saved that spot for something else, you know?
Yeah.
Like my hand tattoo. So after I got I was lasering this sleeve, and I had something here that wanted to get covered up. And while I was traveling, I wanted to get a tattoo by someone. And I was like, oh man, just tattoo my hand. And years before that, I tried to get the same tattoo by someone else. And they're like, are you going to get your sleeve done? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, then don't get that tattoo. So they talked me out of it. They're like, don't get it. And then later I went to somebody else and they were like, let's do it again. You know what I'm saying? And then I was like, I should have listened to that first guy. He actually gave me good advice, you know?
Yeah.
Because I wish now that I would have just kept that open for the full sleeve, for my sleeve to then go down and cohesively go into my hand.
Yeah.
Instead of just have something that's unrelated to the hand, you know?
I get that.
And now I'm like, I'm not getting that laser. That's too much, and it hurts.
Oh God.
It hurts.
Does it smell?
There's a smell to it because there's like, you know, but it's not too bad. But the way that it works, pretty much like this laser is like breaking up the ink molecules into smaller particles that your body can like take out over time, you know, and your immune system is going to take that ink away. So like in the beginning, in your first session, you don't see that much change because it's like it's getting broken down, but it's still pretty big.
Yeah.
But after like your third session or so, those particles get so much smaller that your body starts taking it out really fast.
Okay.
So like it's a slow grind, and usually you go for a session every 2 months or so. So
it's intense. It looks weird for a while.
It looks weird for a while, and you have to be okay with looking weird for a while.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel a certain pressure when like you're doing a piece that's like a memorial tattoo or something?
Oh yeah. I did a couple of years ago. I did a portrait. And then I did like 2 other kind of, you know, memorial tattoos for a family that their son had passed away. And you know, as I'm tattooing like the portrait of like their son, and like, you know, the mom's there, I'm tattooing the dad, you know, and they're both crying. Like it was heavy, you know, it was like a heavy feeling, you know, but they were so appreciative, and you know, things like that. You're like, oh man, like it's nice that I can give them a sense of like closure to a certain, you know, sour moment in their life, you know?
Yeah, yeah. That's I mean, it's a really awesome gift to give people.
Yeah.
I feel like on Ink Master they do a challenge like that too.
Yes. I mean, we did a challenge where, and that was one of my favorite ones. It was like everybody had, you know, photos of their loved ones. Some of them had passed away. Some of them were still alive.
Yeah.
I know, but it's like, you know, pictures of people they really loved. And I got to do a portrait of this, like, this guy's uncle.
Yeah.
You know? He had like the coolest big mustache, fisherman, and all that
was
stuff.
my favorite. I was like, I would have that uncle on me, even though I don't even know him.
Yeah, I
probably fucked a guy like that when I didn't have self-esteem.
Man, like that guy was like so cool. I was like, that's the guy.
He
like,
was so cool. The fisherman.
Yes.
That tattoo was dope. You won that day, right?
Yeah, I won that day, which is great. And like, I love that. Like, they gave me like a couple of photos, and I was like, hey, would you be cool with giving him like this kind of hat? And he was like, yeah, he wears that kind of hat all the time. And then later. After the episode aired and everything, and like he sent me a picture of the tattoo healed, and his uncle was wearing the hat, and it looked almost exactly like the hat that I like drew. And then I was like, oh my god, this is the guy. That's the guy.
Awesome.
So that was great.
That's really, really cool. Do you have like a favorite tattoo that you've done?
I've done so many tattoos. It's hard to like give one, but I have one of my favorite clients. Like he's gotten both arms, both legs full, by me, and they just look so cohesive and so nice, and we're on track to do full body.
That's cool.
So like
it's like a suit.
Yes. So that's my favorite, because like that just shows the level of commitment that he's given me.
That's really nice.
And I appreciate that so much.
That's really respectful of him.
Yeah.
And cool. So you own the shop No Idols, right?
Yes.
In New York?
Yes.
When did you open that?
So the shop was opened in 2016.
Okay.
And I actually opened it with 3 other artists, who were my partners at the time. And,
cool.
Over the years, like they just gravitated to other things, and eventually I became the sole owner of the shop.
Nice.
Yeah.
What is it like owning a shop?
It's a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
Like every now and then I'm like, why did I do this? I could have just, but then like there's days where you're like, oh, this is why I did this, like, because it especially I have a lot of guest artists from other places.
Right.
And in the last couple of months, like some of my friends from Make Master came, they're like, man, this place has a great energy, and it's like such a true reflection of like you and how you
awesome.
are, and it's such a welcoming place, and like it has such a good vibe, and I'm like, good, that feels good,
That's
it feels
really
good
cool.
to hear that,
Damn, that's really awesome. What do you feel when do people ever walk into your shop and they're just like, give me whatever you want?
Very rarely.
Really?
Very rarely does that happen. Most people come with like, with something in mind, even if it's vague. And even if they tell me, give me whatever you want, like I start digging, because there's something there.
You don't believe them?
I don't believe them giving my whatever you want.
Really?
Yeah, I don't believe it. Because then I'm like, okay, let's do this like Hanya mask. I'm like, well, actually, I'm not that. Or like usually this happens a lot. We're like, oh, let's do like a dragon or a snake. They're like, actually, I'm not really into snakes, Yeah. So like, there's always like, give me whatever you want. I'm like, oh my god, I really want to do a dick with wings, like. They're like, well, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? So there's gonna be. There's always lines.
It's actually one of my favorite tattoos that I have is like a dragon, but it's like goes all the way down my thigh, but it's not finished, and it's my only. I'm never gonna finish it with this artist because whatever, but it's my only color tattoo. It has red in it because I went in and she's like, I had a dream that your tattoo is red, and like I have no color tattoos, and I was just like, okay, yeah, like if you had a dream that it was red, like
the dream must be reality.
Like, let's go. And I think that she just didn't want to do like a giant black and gray one. I don't know. She wanted it to be like red and a bunch of other colors. Anyway, she does the dragon. It's just red right now and like not finished. But this is what kills me. The dragon has one whisker, and it's like had one whisker.
Just boop.
Yeah, it's had one whisker for like 2 years, and I just have this like, transitioning dragon on my whole body, and I love it so much, but it's like so weird. I never thought I'd be someone that just like has this unfinished
How long has it been unfinished?
2 or 3 years.
That's not that bad.
That's pretty long.
That's pretty long.
It's my biggest tattoo.
So the other day, I tattooed this guy. He went on 6 years.
Really?
With an unfinished sleeve that only needed 3 hours at most to get finished. And I was like, dude, I thought like something happened to you. He's like, no, I just, I've been doing X, Y, Z. And I'm like, why don't you come finish this, man? We were like right there. He's like, I know. But you're so much better now. And I'm like, yeah, but you only have 3 hours left. Like what? I can't change the design. The design is the design. You know? Like, all I'm doing is finishing the design.
Right. It's the same design.
And I'm like, he's like, I know. And I'm like, dude, don't do that. Don't do that. Just if you're gonna start something, just finish it. Because honestly, I gotta redo now. Like I had to put in, even though it was like it needed 3 hours, I worked on it for like 5 because I had to redo some of the older things because then you want things to age
like
together cohesively,
I feel like I could go back. I felt like she didn't like me. And so I just felt like I kept trying to make appointments with her. She kept canceling. I'd show up. She'd be like, I don't really feel like tattooing today. I was like,
that's crazy.
All right. And so then I just kind of felt like really in my head about everything. And I was like, I don't know. It goes into my body I feel really like tattooing is very like precious. Like I need to feel a good energy with the person tattooing me. And if I feel like the person doesn't like me, I don't want them tattooing me again.
Yes.
So
I agree.
It's a little, but I'm like, I do have like an unfinished piece, but no one else wants to touch it because they're like, nah, man, that's someone else's work. I'm like, oh.
See, I don't believe that at all. Like, just because like, I've heard stories from people that have really nice tattoos. And I'm like, oh, that tattoo's amazing. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, what's wrong? And like, yeah, I didn't have a good experience getting it,
Yeah.
Because like, for whatever reason, in that specific case, either the artist was a dick or the experience doing it, like, just wasn't right. And now it's like a sour memory attached to that tattoo. And they're like, I kind of want to get it lasered, or covered.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, that tattoo looks great. And they're like, yeah, but I think the memory of getting the tattoo sometimes is more powerful than the tattoo itself.
I agree. I feel like, being like kind in the moment. It's not that.
Being present.
Yeah.
And I think like it's an exchange of energy when you get tattooed by someone, you know? And like I have a friend who has a tattoo shop in I believe he's in Austin. And like he really leans into the idea of like it's a big exchange of energy. Like he even starts his tattoo sessions with like he does like everybody in the shop participates on this, and they get together and they do like a circle and they give thanks,
That's cool.
And they're like, what are you thankful for today? And everybody give thanks for something that they're, he doesn't play really any music at the shop, just really soft kind of background stuff. There is no TVs. There's hardly any art. Like the whole place is pushed so there is more communication and more togetherness between like the artist and the client,
Yeah.
And that's something that like he knows that, so he's creating an environment to push that thing. But then there's people that are like, that sounds crazy. That's like too much control. That's like, which that's fine, but you create whatever environment you want at your shop. My shop is completely different. I'm like, I like to have music that's fun, is colorful. There's tons of things to look at because I like my shop to feel somewhere like a nostalgic tattoo shop from like the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
That's my energy,
Definitely. That's cool. Yeah, I wonder, why do you think, I think a lot of people feel intimidated just to walk into a tattoo shop and ask for a tattoo.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
Because, man, they expect, people that are going to be kind of snobby, or, I mean, how many times if you've been to a lot of shops, you walk into a shop and there's like some crazy music that you're like, whoa, this sounds very intense, like off the rip. And like, I feel like you want to create an environment that's inviting to a lot of people,
Right.
And then if they connect with one specific artist, then they can have a more catered individual experience.
Yeah.
But overall, I feel like shops should cater to a lot of people. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I've known of shops that like, they lean onto like, we're the dark, like dark lord of metal. This is this kind of shop. And then they find their audience. They're like, yes, I love this. Like,
Right.
There's like, like dissected animals in jars. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like, you know, like that's
a lot of taxidermy.
Yeah, taxidermy and stuff like that. And then there's like the shops. I'm like, this is like more rock and roll glam and blah. And this is what we play, you know. And you can find a shop that meets your needs, you know. And then the shops that look like salons, you know. It's like all white, super sleek.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Neither do I.
I think the thing that most people will come up to me and they'll be like, I really want to get a tattoo. I just don't know what to get. I just can't decide. Like my first tattoo. Like that's the thing people say more than anything.
That is the overthinking dilemma of just like you're thinking it too much.
Just
you know?
get something. Who cares?
Something, you know, get something small, you know. After you get that one small tattoo, if you can't commit to something bigger, then like you're gonna get more ideas.
Right.
It's been crazy in the last like maybe 6-7 years. I've had more and more clients that it's like, it's my first tattoo. I want to get my full sleeve tattooed. My first tattoo. I want to get my whole leg tattooed, because now there's so much more on Instagram and on the internet overall that they can see, and I'm like, that's what I want to look like. So they come with the intention, and some of them are like, you know, in their mid-20s. So like, I've been following you since I was like, I have a client that he's like, I've been following you since I was 16.
Oh my God.
You tattooed my uncle. As soon as I got old enough, I was like, I wanted to get tattooed by you. And in full sleeve, you know?
Wow.
First, like, yeah, I want to get a full sleeve off the rip.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, that's awesome. I was like, dude, you're so smart. I wish I was that smart when I was your age, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's great.
Do you think there is like a most painful body part to get tattooed?
Absolutely. For me, it was my palms.
Oh, people do say. I think palms are so cool.
That hurt so bad.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those things that like, everybody told me, like, dude, that hurt so bad. And I was like, oh, yeah. You know, and at that point, I already had like my full torso tattooed. I'm like, I've experienced pain before. This felt like nothing I ever felt before. I was like, wow. As soon as it started, like, I'm like, when I experience like really hard pain, I start hysterically laughing because it's like, like, and I had to stop because I'm like, whoa, that's not for real, right? And they're like, dude, they're like, all right, this is gonna be for real. I gotta like hold on to it, and it was like immediate sweats, and I was like, this is crazy. I went from being like fully dressed to just take this off because I'm just like, I just feel like I'm panicking, you know? It was like the panic sweats, but I got through one of them. And then I was like, hey, dude, I think we should do the other one another time.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, dude, look, we did it in like 15 minutes. It was so fast. Like, let's just do the other one. I'm like, he's like, it won't be that bad. I promise. It won't be that bad. And I believed him like an idiot. And then we did the other hand. And then I was literally just walking like this for the next 2 days because my hands were just like throbby feeling. It just hurt so bad.
Did it fall out at all? Like, did you have to?
There was very minimal fallout.
Okay.
Very minimal fallout. But it's something that's, you know, if you're going to do it, just do it.
Yeah. On the Ink Master set, do you guys like all tattoo each other?
No, there's no time for that.
You know what the thing about that show is that like I hate to say this, but whatever, it's a strong opinion. I don't respect a tattoo artist with no tattoos. Like, oof. I just don't. I mean, like, how are you tattooing when you don't have tattoos?
That's funny because, like, you know, we literally just talked about that in the last episode that we shot with like a group of like 5 tattoo artists, you know? And I had this apprentice. He's only been tattooing for 1.5 years. And he said that. He's like, I think if you want to be a tattoo artist, you know, you should at least go get one.
Know what the fuck it feels like.
Yeah, know what it feels like. Imagine you're like, because like every time I tattoo someone, that's one of the top questions. They're like, is this gonna hurt? Like, imagine if you're like, I don't know.
Maybe.
You're like, I don't know, man. You let me know. I don't know. I don't have any tattoos. I'm not this crazy. Like, that sounds crazy to me. But it's like, yeah, you should like at least know what it feels like, and you should see what it's like to spend time in a tattoo shop to see if that's where you want to be. You know, like imagine if you wanted to be I want to be a comedian, but I don't really go.
I don't listen to comedy.
I don't listen to comedy at all.
It's also, the thing is, like, even if I'll see a tattoo artist and they'll have, like, one piece on their arm, that's still not enough for me because I know this sounds really pretentious, but I don't care. I'm making my own choices. But it's just, like, I feel like you should have the passion about tattooing to be, like, immersed in that environment. Like, there's no way you're spending every single day in a tattoo shop for years and you're not getting tons of tattoos. Because for me, when I love something, I'm like, fucking let's go.
Let's go.
And I would just assume that, like, if you're a tattooer, you're seeing, like, your friends' work and you're like, I want my friend's work. I want this. Like, I want to get tattooed by people that love tattoos.
Yes.
It's fucking weird that there are all of these, like, dinky little tattoo artists that have like one thing on their arm. I'm like, fuck yourself. Like, you're good at drawing.
I love this. I love that you're saying it and not me, because I get lynched. They'd be like, oh, they'd be picketing outside of my freaking shop, like, let's get them out of there.
My
like,
opinions
man.
are too strong on this. I feel like it's whatever, but you can decide who you want to go to, obviously, and that's the beauty of the whole thing, that people, you know, can go to those people if they want to. They are good artists. Those people usually tend to be really good, like very fine line, like detailed little guys.
Well, this is where it comes down to
but
for me.
It's just not.
They see tattooing as like just art or as a business.
Yeah.
You know, not as a craft.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like that's the biggest difference, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like there's some really good tattooers out there that have no tattoos, you know? And some of them come with like really strong like painting backgrounds or illustrator backgrounds,
Mm-hmm.
and they saw a way of tattooing, a way to still make their art and monetize it.
Right.
You know? So
that's like gross to me.
It is kind of gross to me too. I don't like the way that sounds. I don't like the way when I say it out loud, I'm like, it doesn't sound good, you know? So it's like, have some love for it, get some, you know, like practice what you preach.
I just love like when I'm getting tattooed by someone that has like layers of tattoos on them. I'm just like, you have been immersed in this. Like, I trust you because I feel that this is like your passion.
Yes.
And I feel like you're welcoming me into like your heart with this. And that's, even if you're not talking and like you just seem like an angry old man, I still fuck with it because like this is the experience that you're giving me that's authentic to you.
Yeah.
And that's like why I love tattooing. Like, you know, I think like sometimes like, you know, like there are old people always like look at your tattoos or like be like, ugh, I don't like them. Or I get comments online like, oh my God, too bad she ruined herself with tattoos like all the time. And it's like, exactly. I got tattoos for you to not like me.
I'm not for you.
Yeah. And I just think that like that's like, it's just about who you identify with and wanting to go get work by the people that like you feel like you identify with.
Yes, I agree. Like, you know, when I first started getting tattooed, my mom hated it.
Yeah.
You know? And she would be like, please stop. Please stop. Please don't get any more. And I would keep getting more and keep getting more to the point that I was like, visually, everything was already covered. And then I would get tattoos that she couldn't even see anymore.
Yeah.
And she was like, I heard you got another tattoo. And I'm like, yep. And I'm like, what does it matter? You can't even see it. It doesn't change anything. I'm still the same person.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like some people feel like, you know, the more tattoos you get, like you're going to just, you know, start running a crime gang or something. I don't know.
I know. I'm like, I'm not doing drugs. I'm like putting art on my body.
Yeah. It's like you're visually expressing yourself through the things that you put on, you know?
Yeah, another thing that really bothers me is like I feel like people will criticize me for like having flash pieces when I feel like flash is like a really beautiful way of like honoring someone else's work.
Yeah.
Like, be like, oh, you just picked a bunch of shit off the wall, blah, blah, blah. It's like,
what's wrong with that?
I think like whenever I go to an artist, like I want them to do what they're best at.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring them something I found on Pinterest that they don't know how to do. I'm like, let me see what you do best. That's what I want.
And even the Pinterest stuff is still like, it's a version of modern Flash, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm fine with that too. Like, people should just get what they want. Like, if you want it, get it. Don't let anybody talk you out of it, you know? Like, if anything, unless it's something that could be done better a certain way, then trust the expert, you know, if they're going to give you guidance of like, well, that wouldn't work because it's too small, or it won't work in that body part, maybe we should move it here. Like, trust that, but get what you want to get, you know, like there is no wrong or right, you know, in that sense of tattooing.
Yeah. Did I ask you the best advice you ever received yet?
No, you haven't asked me that yet.
What is the best advice you ever received?
Man, I feel like the best advice is to make good habits, because your past habits dictate who you are now, and your current habits will dictate who you are in the future. So
I like that.
Your habits should be in line with the person you want to be and the goals you want to attain.
Wow. I like that a lot. Interesting. What are some good habits that you're working on forming?
For me, it's, drinking less. Drinking less, eating healthy, and being present when I'm around people.
Yeah.
Being as present and as
right.
I can be, living in that moment with the people you're around.
Those are pretty good. I feel like the being present one is a big one. Eating healthy. I think for me, I think my sleep schedule is a habit I want to fix. And I think I want to write exactly when I wake up every day. I was doing it for a while.
Yeah.
Then it got scattered. I'd be like, I could just do it at any time. And then I don't have to do it today. And now it's I want to get back to, I feel like those kind of habits are so helpful.
Absolutely. I feel like sleep is one of the ones that are I've always downplayed the need for sleep because I can sleep 5 hours or 4 hours and be fine for a long time.
Yeah.
But now I'm getting older. and I feel it. I'm oh man, I'm getting really tired. I'm I need before I'd be fine with 2 cups of coffee, and I'm I need 5, in a day to get through the day. So I'm yeah, I need to, get a more regular sleep schedule so I can be more efficient, be more present, be more focused.
I feel I have the opposite problem where I'm no. I need to sleep late. This is important for my brain. It's important for my mental health. I will, if my body tells me I need to sleep till a very late time, I'll be my body's telling me this. But I should just be no, set your alarm like a normal human. It's hard when you work nights or you work non-traditional hours because you're I don't know. I'm going to bed super late. I'm getting home super late. So
that was going to be my question to you. Are you a night person or a morning person?
I work nights, so, but I feel comfort by the sun. I feel the sun makes me feel when it's daylight, I'm everything's okay.
Yes.
But, I operate at night, so.
I'm most creative at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned that. I'm most creative at night. Sometimes, that's when I'll have, my best ideas, and I'll either jot them down, pull out my phone, make some notes, and then, I can bring them to fruition in, early in the day. But, my best,
when they
ideas,
just, come out.
Yeah, when they come out at night.
Is it right before bed or, any time?
Well, I usually, that's another thing. I go to bed pretty late,
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning is a normal bedtime for me.
Yeah.
But I'll be up by 9,
That was me today, and I don't fuck with it. All right, let's pull some tarot. We're going to pull one tarot card.
Oh,
see what the vibe is. Yeah. All right. Would you like to shuffle the deck?
Sure.
Thank you. I thought you were going to say that in Austin they pull a tarot card first. I was wow. I really want to get a tarot card tattoo.
That would be cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll come to No Idols for a tarot card tattoo.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I would love that.
That would be cool.
I like to follow a few astrology guys.
Yeah?
And I'm an Aries.
Ah, I see that. Fire sign.
Yeah.
I'm a Sagittarius.
Oh, cool. And this year, my beginning of the year reading was the best ever.
Wow.
And I was is this guy pulling my leg? So I was I'm going to cross-reference all the other guys,
Yeah.
And everybody was this is your year, Aries. And make sure that you're on because this is your year to really take over. And I was this is wild. And so far,
it's been your
I've
year?
had a solid start that's been really, really good.
Wait, so when did you know that you were in the finale of Ink Master? How long between it coming out and you knowing and just being sitting on it?
Oh, I knew it because we went straight through. There was no breaks, So it came out in December, and that we finished shooting at the very beginning of June.
Well, so you kind of knew it'd be your year because it's also coming out.
Well, like I said, I'm but Ink Master to me is only one
I know,
part
it's
of
a tiny
everything.
little
Yeah, it's
thing.
a tiny thing to me.
It is small, but it's also It's also pretty cool. It is like
so
a
cool.
big TV show.
It is huge. Like I
mean,
love
like,
it. You know, I love it. But you know, at the end, I was like, it's. I'm doing so many things.
Yeah.
So I'm like, but this is just like the sprinkle cherry on top of like, and this is happening. You know.
All right. I don't know if this is good. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a rainbow on top of some wands. I was hoping something good would happen. It's a 6 of wands. Oh God.
Let's see what it means.
All right. Hopefully it's okay. Oh, it's not the 6. It's a 6 of swords. That's why. Okay. All right. I'm so taking too long. This will be brief. Okay, it's good. It's hope at last in traveling. You wanted to travel. The 6 of Swords is a card indicating a recovery from difficult times. Hope's on the horizon. Things will get better. It's important to rest, revitalize, and surround yourself with joyful friends. Plan a trip, short or long. Even getting out of town for the weekend will lift your spirits.
That's wild. Just yesterday,
yeah,
I booked a trip to go to Florida, to Miami with my girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah. We're going to Florida in March to go see some family and just have a little
Just have a nice time.
And just have a nice time.
Well, okay. Good. Yes, I'm a witch.
Witch powers.
All right, John, where can people find your podcast? Where can people go to get tattooed by you? Where can people find you on Instagram? Where can people see your modeling? Tell me everything.
So if my podcast, you can watch it on YouTube, here on Spotify, and all, podcasting platforms. It's called Honest Tattooer. And you can see my tattoos at Jon Mesa Tattoos. Or you can come down to my shop, No Idols Tattoo, in the Lower East Side. We're in 75 Orchard Street here in New York. And my modeling stuff is called You Can't Quit Me, Baby.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's actually the title to one of my favorite songs by my favorite band, Queens of the Stone Age.
That's
and
awesome.
That's where it came from.
Nice. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.